r/AskReddit. Gamers of Reddit, what are the strangest things you've heard over an open mic? Was playing Dawn of War on TeamSpeak and this guy got in a loud, heated argument accusing his wife of having an affair because she walked in the door at like midnight. We were going to kick him from the channel but it got really juicy, then it got scary, then it got sad. I think he was playing to distract himself. How'd it end? Space Marines and Elder soundly defeated the Chaos and AFK Orc team. Some friends and I were playing Call of Duty the day Bernie Mac died. We were talking about it and a black guy on our team thought we were making it up. When we finally convinced him, he was quiet for a few seconds, then, in a very distraught tone, said, "Man, I gotta call my mama," and left the game. This is actually really endearing. Several years ago I was doing a 40-person raid in WoW. Many people in the guild were from CA. At the time I lived in Oakland. We hear one guy around Napa call out, "Whoa." Then a few seconds later I feel a pretty substantial earthquake and announce it over vent. A few seconds a couple people around San Jose chime in, they're surprised too. It was pretty cool to hear how the quake rippled south in real time. I had something similar in World of Tanks, with a couple guys who were from Los Angeles like me. We both felt an earthquake at the same time on TeamSpeak. Was pretty funny. There was a guy who got on the microphone while his friend was playing and told us, "Okay, time to get some culture, you illiterate shits," and then proceeded to start reading the Brothers Karamazov out loud. Older lady told me I had a sexy voice and wanted me to recite the alphabet slowly. Yes. Read me the alphabet, you hunky man. I was on a co-op mission on a World War II flight sim. There was around 16 of us playing and one guy was pretty wasted. We were cruising along on the way to the target area when suddenly we started hearing snoring. Loud snoring. Some guys started yelling, "Wake up," but to no avail, and shortly after we hear a loud crashing and rattling over comms, followed by a "War duck, Sonova Beach, I'm ducking," bleeding. Guy passed out and smashed his head on the floor. Couldn't finish the mission cause we all were laughing so hard. Not really strange as in creepy, but I was playing XGO match when a kid on my team yelled, "HA, get duck ED," after getting a kill. Then our entire team hears him screaming, crying, and begging for forgiveness from his mother beating him for cussing that loud. My raid group was pretty diverse. 2 guys from the Bronx, SP, myself and another from the UK and a few from Norway, Finland and one from Ukraine. We were pretty new to the game and hadn't cleared the final boss of a very tough raid yet, but we were coming close. One of the Bronx guys died straight away, lag issues constantly, but we'll never kick him. But proceeded to do a live freestyle rap about what each person was doing in the raid in lieu of a commentary. Shit was amazing. Wish we had recording software back then. Second was the Ukraine guy. Just signs onto TS one day and says war has broken out. I won't be on for the raid, laughs. Signs out and repeats the same message in game to the guildies who went on TS. Kinda worried for a few weeks, but he eventually managed to contact one of us via our forum to say all was well and he'd moved to a new safer city with family while things die down. Can't wait for him to get back. His DPS was straight up demonic. Not strange but caught me really off guard. A CS server I used to frequent, a guy can on voice accounts to say goodbye like a normal person would, but what he said was that he just finished chemo and that he would play during his treatments. Now that he wasn't getting chemo, he wouldn't have that time to play anymore. It was a nice change to hear after the usual chatter. That'll always stick with me. My WoW raid leader's wife masturbating and having a screaming orgasm while we were raiding Black Temple. He took his headset off and queued it up just as she got off next to him. It was a weird guild. Edit. And in Wrath. In the same guild, we were working on 3 Drake Sotharian when one of our mages yelled, "AFK mom on fire," mid-pull. Turned out she really did catch on fire while cooking. He had to take her to the emergency room. A few years ago, I was in a Rift guild with the strangest California desert hicks. This couple lived in the hills outside San Diego on some big piece of property with their kids and the guy's parents. They were actually decent enough of players. He was an especially solid tank, but damn if they didn't interrupt raid for the craziest of reasons. One week it was kid with a broken arm. The next, the in-laws roof was on fire. The frequency and kind of incident were always enough to make the rest of us wildly speculate about what the hell kind of living situation these people had. The best time they interrupted raid, guys, we gotta take 20, the kangaroo is loose again. Playing Call of Duty a few years back, heard a woman having a really vicious rant towards her husband who was in our team. Dong size was mentioned, mothers were berated and infidelity was confessed. The guy just played on. Was playing League while talking to some guys over TeamSpeak. Dude says he'll be right back, but leaves his mic on. Out of nowhere, you hear him and his dad getting into a massive fight. When the fight was nearly over, we heard the dad scream, "And why does your room smell like shit?" And the kid replied, "Cause I shit in IT." Dude hasn't been back on that TS since. This story isn't so much something accidentally heard through a mic, but the other players' reaction to it. We had this mage character in our guild on WoW. Our guild wasn't anything terribly special, just doing Molten Core, Onyxia, and BWL before Burning Crusade came out. Back in the good old days where you had class-specific chat channels to coordinate class-specific jobs 10% of the time, and rag on all the inferior classes 90% of the time. At the time of the story we were pretty new and just doing Onyxia regularly. Sometimes took 2 attempts, had about 30 people, and hadn't downed Ragnaros until a month later. Anyway, this guy had been in the guild since his 50s and we were happy that he was finally able to start raiding. Pretty fun guy, really sarcastic, really good mage, never gave his age, but from the way he wrote and carried on a conversation, he seemed like a college or graduate school kid in his mid-20s. Anyway, raids mean Ventrilo, so he joined up in the channel, but he claimed he didn't have a mic, and always responded in chat. To make a long story short, a few months after he started raiding, one evening 2 guys got kicked deep into the whelps and woke like 90% of them up. Rather than men whelps handle them, our guild leader just called for us to wipe. Suddenly this really high-pitched voice comes over vent and says, "Forget that, keep going. Nobody else touch the whelps. Everyone else on vent shut up. We'll handle this. Mages, grab the whelps and come to the center. Anyone with whelps come to the center. Group 3 healers, you're with us." Nobody knew who the hell it was, but we went with it. Lucky me, I had the talents for a 70% slowing blizzard, so I got to be the main kite. Humbling and terrifying experience of kiting 100 whelps, with some random girls keeping me alive by coordinating half a dozen frostnovas. She had us run in circles along the bottom of the lair for 8 minutes, and she freaking pulled it off. It took a minute for us to realize exactly who this chick was. Wait a sec, we don't have any girl mages, WTF. But everyone was too focused to comment on it. When the raid was finally over, everyone is laughing. The comments start coming out. "We thought you were a guy. Didn't know you were a girl," etc. I am a guy. He says he's about 12, and more or less the size of a 9-year-old. Says fun raid, and logs off pretty quickly after that. You can imagine the mini freakout that followed. The cognitive dissonance was fantastic. About a third of the people there refused to believe that person was so young, and decided that him being a 24-year-old girl lying about her age and gender was far more believable than their friend being that young. This person was very sarcastic and prank prone. To be fair, logic along the lines of a little kid can't fake being that old. They always referred to the guy as her after that. They just couldn't believe the one that saved the raid single-handed was still in middle school and whose voice hadn't dropped. The guild leader at least was pretty cool with it, even asked him to be helped lead some Onyxia runs after that and be mage lead a month later when our main one left. Kid flat out refused, said he couldn't take his own voice seriously, and wouldn't expect any of the raid leaders to, much less the players. Can't blame him. There were certainly people that mocked him after that, though happy to say it was a small minority. He was a pretty cool kid. Can't pretend it didn't screw with my own perceptions. But figured I liked him and respected him before I knew his age, so nothing really changed between us. But it was just hilarious to hear 30 teenage college middle-aged guys, and a few girls, obsess over learning they just got shown up and rescued by a middle schooler hiding amongst them. At the very least, that was the first moment I really appreciated the internet as the great equalizer. Edit. This started getting more views than I expected, so I cleaned up the writing. "Stop throwing Pop-Tarts at the cat." I will eat you and shit you out, so I may fertilize my garden with your soul. A couple years back on PSN I believe I heard the last argument one couple ever had. Playing GTA 4, dogging around at the airport I overhear some lady scream, "I've been working all day and all you've been doing is playing that stupid game." It developed into a huge fight. They were screaming back and forth for at least 15 minutes until his mic went quiet and his account logged off. My GF used to play WoW a lot and was playing with her guild, and during a break she started playing with her dog and baby talking to it. She accidentally hadn't muted her mic, so her whole guild was listening and they kept quiet and recorded it. The audio track was on the guild website for a while. Not too strange, but a guy I raid with has voice activation instead of push to talk, so occasionally we'll hear him talking to his wife or daughter. Some examples: "Where's the remote? I don't know. Love you baby." To which the whole guild responds in "Ors, love you too," and giggles. Edit. Monday morning spieling. Raiding Kara in WoW. Backstory: there was this player, Josh Warrior, who had joined our guild. He was, as one can easily deduce, a warrior. He was as terrible can be. Didn't know what a rotation was. Couldn't gear properly. He was only like 11, so we let it slide. But his general inability to learn or even try to learn made his life as a guild much short. The story: it was near the end of BC, and my druid tank wasn't very geared relative to endgame, so I would use him to help out new, fresh guilds get through Kara, as I could sleep through any encounter and still maintain aggro and not really worry. I decide to help out this one guild, and who shows up? Josh Warrior. I lolled and continued on. My bear was indestructible. Vent was a fun conversation. Everyone was chill and thankful of my help. I don't really remember where we were in the raid, when suddenly Josh Warrior flatly proclaims, "My dad just had a heart attack. I think he's dead." Progress comes to a stop. Holy shit. Did he need to go help him? Did he want to leave? We'd get a replacement. No. The ambulance is here and my dog is really big. If I go out of my room, he'll definitely get out and attack the paramedics. The most awkward silence ever ensued, and we continued on through a few trash packs. Finally, their guild leader stops the raid and starts asking Josh how he's doing. Fine. I think he's dead. We can keep going though. I just want some loot. We finished the rest of the raid in near complete silence except for me coordinating the encounters. I've never felt so awkward over Vent. Nobody else uttered a word. Every person from the guild whispered apologies and gave resounding thanks. That was, by far, the most memorable and ducked up raid ever. I joined a COD lobby to hear this dialogue between two other gamers. "Hey man, do you remember your first blowjob? Yep, what did it taste like? Ahaha, blood up. Wah. What?" Heard a full grown man cry when our WoW guild disbanded. My guild wasn't disbanded, but I did cry the day one of my WoW buddies' girlfriend texted me and told me he had passed away. RIP Poofagon. Was playing World of Tanks on Xbox 360, and this guy on my team, who was playing in a German tank, was blaring German military music from World War II over the mic. It wasn't strange, more so an out of the blue sort of thing. Edit. I'm guessing I should watch Girls and Pants now. Also, I should get a PC ASAP and play Red Orchestra too. I got stuck with a clan on CODMW that said white power almost every minute. I'll duck your mom's laundry in a fake English accent. Was playing Call of Duty a few years ago and there was a bunch of kids mouthing off. I'm 35, I generally ignored it and tried to be a good sport because they were just being kids. I get my ass totally handed to me, as usual, and I'm sitting in the lobby after a particularly brutal loss when one of the kids goes, "Hey Cons 56, do you like dragons?" Yeah I guess. That's good because I was dragging my nuts across you face the entire game. I'll admit, I still laugh thinking about it now. I was playing Halo 3 with my brother one time when someone on the other team was 1 kill for 18 deaths or something similar. He was running around and shooting at people occasionally but generally missing a lot and dying. Once the game is over we end up in the post-game lobby with one person on the other team swearing at the guy that went 1/18. We hear a strange rustling noise followed by a rather drowsy sounding. Oh, dude, what the duck? How do you die 18 times and only get 1 kill? Sorry dude, I fell asleep in the lobby. You were moving around. Wheel up. It's only me and my cat here. Too long didn't read. Someone either blamed their cat for their terrible performance in Halo or one of us got killed by a cat. Raided with a gal during Blackwing Lair who had 2 kids around the same age. It'd be around 11 PM and we'd hear these elementary school age kids say stuff like "Mommy, we're hungry," and she'd respond with "Not now, mommy's raiding." We booted her after a month though because she was an awful healer. Edit. Also there was the off-tank during Black Temple that lived with his mother for cultural reasons. Every now and then, we'd hear his mom start shouting at him in some North African language and he'd start shouting right back. Dude was a complete duckwad and would not use push to talk. Real arrogant mother ducker, but a great tank that we had trouble replacing. Edit 2. And there was the terrible paladin who flat out refused to listen to any suggestions I made to him. So he ultimately got the boot once we were able to replace him. After he was kicked, he messaged the GM accusing him of discrimination and threatening to sue. Apparently the shitty paladin was in a wheelchair which absolutely no one was aware of, so what? Keep the story coming guys. I love reading all these. So ducking fantastic to hear about all the crazies from other people who've raided a fair bit. For people wondering, I played on Whisperwind mostly. A kid didn't want to drop from the game, so he went and took a crap while still talking on live. New games are intense. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. It seems Xbox Live new games were a shared experience of ducked up times. Also I totally forgot about the live camera. Was on a break during 25-man raid and wow. This guy's mic opens and his tune starts running straight for the boss and all I can hear is him scream Fluffy no. Fluffy is a cat and we all know where she sat. We were wiped out as most people were AFK. Not strange I know, but it was funny enough to remember from BC days. On FXC, we were camping Fafnir. It just popped at around 4 AM and this one dude in our link shell had school in a few hours. Just when we start fighting it, his mom comes in and starts yelling at him for staying up all night and he starts yelling back, "You ever kill a Fafnir mom? Huh, have you?" They went back and forth like that for about 5 minutes. Funniest shit I ever heard. Someone called in an airstrike on the original Modern Warfare, so my team fell back, while one guy ran across the stage screaming, "I gotta find Bubba," into the mic. Edit. Oh wow, thanks for the gold, D. So I used to join Black Ops 2 lobbies and talk in my deepest bass voice. Had some guy ask me to call a phone number. For some reason he thought I wouldn't do it. I did it. His friends were laughing but he was telling me to just hang up. Whoever the chick was that answered was pissed off. Like even before I called. Who the duck is this? And then some yelling that apparently picked up on the mic. That happened in the lobby. We get in game, and the dude who told me to call just up and left. I kind of want to believe he got chewed out by his older sister or something because of me. Just to clarify though, I never said anything rude to her. I went in hello there. I was told to car then yelling and yelling then she hung up. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.